Building a color picker within Canvas Power Apps. That's what we're going to do today. And here on the screen, I do have our modern themes up here, but I'm going to go into now. This is the new Jumpstart Kit 1.5, and always love working with one of my templates. But let's just go find a blank screen here, and I'm going to duplicate this blank screen, and we'll work from there. So this should be fun. How many times have you thought to yourself, I want my users to be able to choose a color. Maybe their app admin screens, some back office screens where privileged few you want to give access to control things like drop down lists and different values that the app depends on. And perhaps you want to give the user the opportunity to pick and choose the exact color that they want to work with. So that's what we're going to do today. And the first thing I'm going to do is rename my screen here. And this will be an admin screen. Now I do prefix my screens. So if it's an app admin screen, I'll prefix it like that and say color picker screen. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy down. And I'm always going to check to see if that key combination will work for moving things down, which is control, square bracket, left should move an item down, or I wish I could drag these things down. It's not there yet, but I'm very hopeful that Microsoft will add that. So I'm going to move this down. And I'll actually move it down below the main app admin screen. So we got a menu here, and we have app admins. So I'll click on that. Boom, you're an app admin. Very good. And what I'd like to do is click on our color picker screen here. All right. So the first thing I want to do is explore a lot of the color functions. So let's talk about all the different resources that we have at our disposal within Canvas Power Apps without adding anything, any outside dependencies or anything. Okay. The first thing to talk about is the color enumeration. So what I do have in my app formulas is I have a formula FX colors. So what I did, whenever you're in Canvas Power Apps in a code window and you say color dot, and then you get all these values here. Okay, let's check this. Let's add over a rectangle. And I do see Mark on. How you doing, Mark? 56 degrees up in Maryland, right? Haven't been outside yet today, but it is getting nicer here in Orlando, which I really do like. I'm going to click on color. Well, here's one of the functions that we have, which is RGBA. Okay. Now, we could simply type color, and there is an enumeration here. And there's 140 of them. And it's not a coincidence that if you go look at the web standards for all the colors, named colors that are supported by all browsers, and it's 140. And they're all listed here in alphabetical order. And I had a thought, which is I want to have all these in a collection. Maybe set the the color as a data source for a gallery and show the users all 140. You can't do that with this enumeration. Okay, so if I hit Azure, is that really the color of that? Okay, there it is. It's a light blue. And we could say yellow. All right. So we do have, and I'll probably just put these in comments here. This will be really good. Color dot enum within Power Apps. Let's put some good documentation in here. Now this one is going to be RGBA function. And let's make sure this code is easy to read for you guys. There we go. How about that? Maybe a little more? Yeah, you want it bigger? That's probably a little too big. All right. And it looks like my video is bugging out a little bit here. So let me fix that real quick. And then go back to my other source of video, and there we go. Fantastic. So we do have RGBA. Now, something we should talk about here is red, heart, G, green, and blue. Those are the three colors. And then we have alpha, or the transparency. So the alpha is somewhere between 0 and 1. And you could say 50% to get 0.50. And that will make it a little see-through. So I actually do use this quite a bit in my apps. But any common colors are going to be found in this enumeration. So if we said blue, etc. Okay. So what I'm going to show you here is if I tie into FX colors, what I could do is a lookup, because this is actually a collection defined in my app formulas. So we're going to look there, and we're going to look at perhaps the color name. And here we'll say Azure. Now, I know that's how people pronounce Microsoft Azure Cloud Services, right? But what about, aside from that, is the color really pronounced that way? I don't know. Now I'm going to say color there, and that should give me the Azure color. Now, this is more wordy than just saying color.azure. But you know what? Oh, that's really different. I'm going to Control-0 there. And let's see if this thing comes in right. Okay, so this is the problem of using column names, which are also reserved keywords. I'm going to lower the quality of my webcam here so it's not so choppy. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Let's go into our FX colors. And what you'll see here, so I don't have, and this is a good I'm thankful that I actually didn't call it color. It's called value. But for each of the 140, I've got all kinds of stuff in here, not just a color value. That enumeration only gives you that. Okay. So now maybe you don't already have something like this set up. Okay. So what you would want to do is you would want to head over to my PowerFX code snippets and go into color. Boom, look at this. We have a color collection. And you can copy and paste it into your app formulas. How about that? So I'm going to share that with you guys here. There you go. All right. Now, did that Azure color come through? It sure did. Very nice. Okay. So you guys are aware of the color enumeration and what I like to use instead here. And of course, I always like to format my code the way it typically will format it if you hit that format text. Okay. And I'm going to grab this and I'm going to, we'll say Darren's FX colors collection. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted Windows V, which will give me that. Yeah, that's a little bit long. Okay, there we go. Save that. Okay, what else do we have for colors? We have color value. So I'm going to comment this guy out. Okay. Well, it doesn't like that either. All right. So we're learning here at the beginning. I want to cover all the basics, and then we're going to go into creating that color picker. Okay. So we have color value function here. I use this a lot of times if I know the hexadecimal or there's an exact hexadecimal value of a color that I really like. Let's say like E5, E5, E5. It's a nice gray color. I like that. However, did you know that you could say gray? And there's the gray. And that gray color looks awful, I think. All right. You know, something I didn't even think to ask you guys to consider is, I'm going to copy and paste this guy. Put it down in the corner there. And for the color, I'm going to take everything out. Say color dot Alice Blue. That's fine. Something that Power Apps can easily work with. And then if I go over to this guy, oh, look, it's going to give me a color picker. Now, do you guys like this color picker? I mean, we could create our own color picker like this, but I like to do something that's a lot better. But see, notice we have RGB and then the A is for alpha. So if you wanted to make this sort of see-through, you could. And you're not going to notice it against a white background. So if you put a different color there, then you'll notice that alpha. Okay. So I think I would be doing a disservice if we're going to talk about color pickers and not actually look at the color picker that's within Canvas Power Apps, right? Okay. And also, we should take a look at these themes over here. So let's add, I'm going to call this new theme. And I'm going to click on a random color here. Boom. How about that? And I always turn that on because I don't want it to mess with my colors. Whatever color I pick, I want that to be used. want to go with something like all right. Well, that looks a little weird. We should probably pick a darker green. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to click create there. So this is a color picker as well, obviously, but it looks like the second tab of this, right? So if we do, as we do build our own color picker, I want it to be at least as good as this one, but perhaps better. Okay. Now, what about the RGBA? Make sure this is commented well. That. I sort of liked what I did there, so and I'll probably be putting all this code in my PowerFX snippets. So if you're watching this later, you should be able to find it. Ooh, do I like that better? I do. Yeah. All right. So this is something like that. And then let's also we'll use that. However, I don't want to put those spaces in. Okay. So we've actually already talked about the RGBA. Just realize, put a percentage in there, somewhere between 0 and 100. Otherwise, some people will say 0.5, which is 50%. I'm starting to just like to do the percentage. I just think it makes it simpler. Okay. I can be a little OCD about how things look. Or somebody told me, I think it was you, Mark, said CDO. That's an alphabetical order. All right. So we've talked about RGBA. What about color fade? Color fade. So let's say we have a color like color.blue and we want to fade it. So what you would do here, if you're going to use a function and you know there's going to be IntelliSense, this is a little tip. Always put a space in there before you start typing something, okay? So if I say color and I hit tab, if there was no space here, it would have wiped out that. Have you guys ever noticed that? Color fade. Yeah, boom, color's gone. That's really annoying. Now, how much do we want to fade it by? Okay, this is something else that we could give it a percentage. Okay, now if we say 0% here, let's look and see what this looks like. This is a pure blue, and I think it's harsh on the eyes. It's a little jolting, if you ask me. So if we say 50%, isn't that weird? Now, is this fade? You know what? I'm going to copy this guy. I'm going to make this an almost red color. And I'm going to I'm going to bring it to the front. When we fade a color, it has nothing to do with opacity or the alpha or transparency. It simply takes that color and fades it by whatever percentage that you specify. So let's say 99%. Well, you can barely even tell if that was blue. Okay. So color fade. Now, what about darkening a color? Is there a color darken? No, there's not. If you want to darken a color, what you're going to do is you're going to use the same exact function, but you're going to put a little negative sign right there. I think I'm going to start my little comment block here. There we go. Wow, yeah, that's definitely darker than the pure blue. Now, what happens when we give it something like 99? Well, it almost looks black. It's not quite black. All right. Okay. And so we'll put that in there. Color fade function. Okay. Got all this vertical spacing there. I don't know if that really needs to be there. Okay. What else do we have? Now, I'm going to leave this here for a moment, and let's talk about. We'll use this other rectangle here, and color. Well, you know what? A rectangle actually is not good for this, and I'm always going to advise you guys the modern. Well, let me take this out for a second. There's a text control, and I don't recommend using it because last time I checked, you cannot set the fill, which is other known as background color, and you don't have an on select property there. So I always tell people, hey, just use the classic label. Now, of course, changes come in and okay. I'm just making sure there's no other modern control that is like a label. Yeah, let's just say label. We got the classic one there. Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys are the different properties that you'll work with regarding color. Okay, so here's a label. And if I go down here to color, now we have two colors. We have the font color or the foreground color, then we have the background color. So a lot of times I click on these and I modify them up here. I don't want to have to look through a list. So I click on this. What does it give me? Oh, color. If you ever see the property color. In Power Apps, that typically means the foreground color. And you know what? I'm going to make this much bigger. And I'm going to put in a border. So the color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that white. Okay, now you can't see it, huh? And then the other property is called fill the background color. And we could say color dot blue. There we go. And while we're having fun here, might as well center align that. Okay. Now we also, so we've learned about color property, fill property, and if you scroll down, we actually have, oh look, we have a border here. So here are the different ways that this could show up, and I need to probably put myself on the side so I'm not covering anything up. So you got dash, dotted, none, and solid. But look at this, we have a color. Now, if you want to bring that up, I click on border and then click on the one item here. Okay, so now we've got this. Let's use color dot yellow. And let's make the thickness more like 10. Okay, and you can border thickness, boom, 10. And as you can imagine, what does dashed look like? It looks like that. All right. And sometimes I do use dash. I like dashed over dotted. And if you just want to completely hide the border, you could do actually three things. You could set this to none, you could set this to 0, or for the color, you could just say transparent. And you know what? That's something else that we should mention. And let's go down here to the color values and say color dot transparent. I use that quite a bit. It's not really a color, but very useful. Okay. So as I was saying, this label, where is the board? Right here. So you can just say color dot transparent. If you click on this, well, the easiest way is just to click on this and it would do it. But you can't. We're talking about the border. So there's three ways to make that border transparent. Now, you also do have other things, but those are the three main properties within controls that you might find yourself wanting to change. Okay. Now we do have some other functions that I'd like to talk about that are regarding colors. And okay, I think I'm sitting here thinking, let's do a text. A text. Oh, no, I want the classic one. I don't want any surprises. All right. So if I type hex, we have these are relatively new functions. And one function will convert a hex to decimal, and the other will convert a decimal to hex. And let's use it here. before, see, this is why it's really, in my opinion, a great idea to use a function like, or a collection and define it in your app's formula, because I drag this code right there. Do you guys know you could drag code around? You select it and you could just move it around. And why is that important? Why would you want to do that? Well, if you don't want to clutter your clipboard, that's a good way of not even involving your clipboard. Okay, so what I could do here is I could take this and let's look at the default for this. The default for this, it wants a hex value, and it's going to convert it to decimal. So I'm going to paste in my lookup. I want to format it all right here. But instead of value, we want to say hex code. That's what it is. I don't know. That sort of threw me off. Hex code. Now, what does that give us? We select it. It's giving us everything, including the pound sign here. And it's going to give us an error. It does not like the pound symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say right. Is everybody familiar with the right function? It's going to take characters off the right side of a string. So your hexadecimal, all the hexadecimals in my collection are going to be full 7 characters. And some hex values can actually be smaller. Like, for example, if you want black, what I would do is put in, 6 zeros. But if you just give it 3, that also is black, just like FFF would be white. But I would always do that because just for me it makes sense. The first 2 characters are red, G is for green, and B is for blue, RGB. So what I'm going to do here is I just want 6 characters off the right. So I'm going to put in here, takes out, I'm going to say using right, takes out the, what do we call that? The number symbol? Do we call it the hashtag? Do we call it pound? Or do we call it sharp, as in C sharp? All right, so now let's look at this. Oh, look at that. It's going to take our hex value and turn it into a decimal. I'm going to increase the size here a bit. Okay. Now, I'm going to name this thing TXT. And I've got this new way I came up with the other day. I'm just tired of really bad looking control names. And I like to make them meaningful, but I'm going to have to, I want to start putting in some portion of the screen name. So I can easily find all of the controls for a particular screen. And I think other people already do that. And I've been sold on the idea that it's actually a good thing. So I'm going to say color picker. Now the name of the screen is not just color picker, it's admin-color picker screen. But if we take out all the fluff, the admin dash and screen, every screen is going to have the word screen in it. But yeah, I don't want my control names to be so long, you know? So I'm going to say hex to des. All right. Now, I want to grab that value. So on the on change, I want to use update context and throw that value, LOC, and I'm going to say self.text. Okay. And then I'm going to copy and paste that text box. And this one, I'm going to call this des2 hex. And on the on change, I'm going to say hex. All right. So yeah, so we started off with that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and say is blank LOC decimal. I'm going to say not. As long as that's not blank, I'm going to dent this over. As long as it's not blank, I'm going to return it. Otherwise, we're going to give it a default value. And let's do the same thing for the other guy. But in this case, now it's going to be hex. Copy, paste that there. And we should be good. But this should be decimal 2 hex. And okay. Now if I said 6 here and then hit tab, let's see, do we have anything in that variable yet? It should. Oh, this should be, hold on a second. I think I'm a little confused here. When this thing changes, I populate that. So that should be there. That should be there. I think for now, I'm not going to have something else there. What I could do is say, now this is the beauty of the new naming system here, is I could say txt color picker x to des dot text. X to des So this should be a hex number. Okay, so there we go. All right. Wow. I don't want it to be the same value. LOC decimal. And you know what I should do is on visible, that guy needs to be down there. We should do an update. Context. Oh man, I think I smell bacon. I'm gonna have to cut this live stream short because my wife's cooking bacon down there. All right, so LOC. You know what? Let's just say blank. Oh come on. LOC hex blank. I like it. Picasso. There we go. Gee whiz. And I really don't like that hover color. Let's just make that white. So now that's not as annoying. And I think what I might do is maybe make that 60. That looks better. All right. Now, what are you going to do with that? I guess if you want to store it numerically, yeah, let's go look. I'm gonna grab the link here. I'm gonna share it with you guys. Yeah, bacon. All right. Open up a new tab and let's take a look at the documentation together, guys. Immense characters 0 through 9 and uppercase characters A through F. I'm not interested in it. I want to look at this. Upper and lowercase characters are accepted. No more than 10 hexadecimal characters can be passed. I wonder, gee whiz, why 10? There should only be 6. I wonder if we could do something like there's 4 characters. Maybe we could define what the alpha is or the transparency, and then there's maybe some other value, perhaps. That's interesting. Okay, both these functions work with a 40-bit. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this link here. Let's go to this guy here. Put that to make it more visible. Just say light blue. Okay. I'm going to do something like this. Versions.
Yeah, I know what's going on. This thing needs to be that, and then this thing needs to look like that, and now we're good. I don't know if it needs to be like that. Let's do that. Maybe. All right. So the conversions, and so I will say here we go. I think I'll just stick that out. Okay. So yeah. Huh. If you pass a single number or text string to these functions, the return is a single result. If you pass single column table, the return value is going to be a single column table of results. Wow, that's interesting. So if you got a collection or a table and you want to get it one or the other, you could throw that collection or table at it. And I'll give you the multi-column table. You can shape it into a single column working with table. Yeah. Um, if the input value, you can get in there. Okay. All right. So here's some examples. Let's expand the table. Okay, great. Hexadecimal. Okay, that's interesting. So I think the hexadecimal becomes much more useful when you just give it a hexadecimal that represents 0 through 255. Oh, that's interesting. I was trying to think like, why would I ever want, this weird long number that we had, you know? Okay. Yeah, this is good stuff. I like it. All right, let's see here. I want to make sure I didn't um, leave out any functions. I think we've covered it all. If you guys think of anything, um, yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to check one other place because I don't want to. Okay, so what we have, yeah, let's go into this. Um, so we have the color enum, and I'm going to include the documentation on that there. Might as well just say that because this link covers the color enumeration, the color fade, color value in RGBA. Okay, so I said all that to say this. I'm thankful that we haven't gone over an hour yet. I just wanted to cover the foundational type of work for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this screen. And I'm going to call this screen something completely different. I'm going to call it color functions. We'll go back here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, 100. That looks better. And bring that in a little bit. Hit Control 0. There we go. And this will be our color picker. Okay. So let's get rid of all this stuff. So, Mark, did you notice this? We were talking about this earlier this week where somebody just dragged on the controls. And I'm like, what? That works? And everybody's like, yeah, Darren. And I'm like, this is why I never use it. Because I've got my spinner, I got a spacer group, I got all kinds of stuff. Now I could just hold down control and unselect those things. But look, I forgot to get that. So I'm going to delete all that. And how should we allow, and this came up yesterday in yesterday's workshop where Kurt has, let's go over to the community, and it is, if you want to check out his labs, you could do the first lab that's out there for you guys to use and to look. Um, so we walk through those practical labs and assignments in yesterday's workshop. And it looks like my video is bugging out again. That's slightly annoying. And then come back. There. Yeah. Nuclear delete. Absolutely. And you know what else, Mark, is my guy stopped working. So I have to look into that. The X and the Y aren't changing, but so this is my lab 2. And okay, my video is really giving me problems. Gee whiz. And maybe I just need to turn it off. You know, it just doesn't want to work. I'll try one more thing and then I'm giving up on it. Yeah. Oh, wow, I'm back. Cool. So anyway, yeah, that would be one way of deleting lots of controls. So his lab 2, the next thing we need to do is a color picker. Now, I'm going to go look at his, I got to go over the accelerator because anything past lab 1 is here. And I don't want the helper content. I want this guy. So he created some really cool labs. And now this is the bouncing ball page. Okay. So at the very least, I want to do something like this. Now that drop down at the top of the screen, that's going to be a menu. And then we've got slider controls. And then we pull it all together within a rectangle, I'm sure is what I used there. Okay, so at the very least, we'll start off there, and then we'll make it fancy after that. Okay. So let's bring in some sliders. Now, should we use, you know what? I'm gonna I'm going to live life on the edge and use the modern sliders. How about that? Size, well, where's the large? If I say small, how small is that? Okay, just adjust it by a little bit. Okay. All right, first thing I want to do is SLD would be the prefix here, and this would be color picker. Now my other screen where we talked about the color functions, that's color picker. So it's color pick. How about that? And this one's going to be red. It doesn't look red yet, does it? All right. Let's change that to red. Color palette. Color.red. That looks nice, doesn't it? And oh, cool. He does use a container. That's what I was gonna do. So that's cool. I like it. Now the value. Let's set the value to be 255. The max be 255. Okay. You know what's sort of cool about this? We could say for the accessible label, red value, and then say self.value. I think I'm about done with my web camera. Let's see. I want to. I wish I could make that little square go away. What can I do with this thing? If I hide it, does it take away? Gee whiz, I'm just having a bad time today with this. My goodness. Hmm. Okay. There we go. Oh my goodness. I got to figure that out um, later this weekend. Okay, so we have red, and if somebody needs a screen reader, like they can't see it, it displays that. What other kinds of things would we want in a slider where people could change things here? I wonder if we change the height, it doesn't change the line. Okay. So I'm gonna take that. Yeah, 30 is gonna be fine. Now, something I might do is set up some local variables. For example, when this screen loads up, let's go in here. Look at that. We still have this. I'm going to say, look, slider width. I want to say 250. And I'm going to set this thing up to use that for the width. Of course, it hasn't been initialized yet. Okay, there we go. Horizontal. Hmm. Size medium. Color palette. Yeah. Okay. I think that's about it. So I'm going to say copy paste, paste. So this guy will be green and its accessible label green. Color palette will be green. And I think that's it. And this one will be blue. And we also need to change up this. Very good. Okay. All right, we got that. 255, 256. Huh. Now, can you give me a little bit more context to that, Mark? What you're asking? Are you asking if we can go above the 255? I wouldn't think we could, but we could try that out. So let's do this. What happens when we go up to 256? Ew. Why did that change? That was weird. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's that's sort of cool. I like that. I like that, Mark. And I'll have to click off a different screen and come back. There we go. All right. I'm going to take out that max to be 255. Oh my goodness. You see what it keeps doing to me? Okay. This is why I don't like modern controls. And if I have to, I'll put those things into, gee whiz. Maybe if it was something like color value, just see what it does with this. If it still blinks it out. Now I went to a different screen and I came back in. Okay, it looks like it's going to work this time. All right, so this guy here, first of all, the most fun thing about containers is I can say semi-bold or I can say bold. That looks nice. And then for the fill, this is where it's sort of weird. Power-ups is weird sometimes. Like take a look at this. Remember I said color is typically a foreground color and then fill is the background color. So here is a container. It has no foreground color. So you think, oh, what? Well, it's color here. Boom. We click on color. No, it's fill. That's crazy. All right. The red value is going to be SLD. Okay, red dot value. Okay. Green. And then let's do the blue. Okay. And if you look at those, I mean, it's pure white. Of course it's not going to work. Oh my goodness. Oh, do you see the zero? Okay, got it. All right, that's interesting. There's a lot we can do here. My mind is exploding with ideas. Um, I want to put this over here. Okay. Okay, so CNT color pick, and this is container. Well, that's redundant because I said CNT, right? All right, let's just do that then. What I want to do, I'm going to go in here and I want to set up the sliders. Whenever you have a lot of controls and they need to be sort of similar in some ways, it's probably a good idea to do something like this. Slider Y. So I'm going to use the container dot y plus the container dot height, and I'm going to say plus. Now, do I have any type of spacing, gutter, padding? I thought I did. There we go. Here's where I put my spacing. Let's do a large. There we go. So I'm going to click on a different screen and come back. Okay. I'm going to select those three guys and go find Y. There we go. Now what's going to bug me is like, hey, are these things equally spaced? Are they centered? Blah, blah, blah. And there's something we could do for this, which is we could just make this a larger value and see what that looks like. And we'll keep increasing it. Okay. So what I'll do with the the X here is I'll see CNT color pick dot X. There we go. And on this guy, what I'm going to do for the X is use that guy's dot X, add its width. Okay. And then grab that guy. Let's see here. The green dot X plus the green dot width. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add yet another slider. Yeah, we'll add another slider here. And we'll say on the minimum, okay, 0, that's fine. And the max will be 600. And then what we'll do is the on change, we'll say update update context. We'll say LOC slider width equals self dot value. Until it looks just right. Okay. Okay. That's like hanging off a little bit. So what value do I have here? Let's look at 400. Let's run it. Actually, let's make this. Let's make this guy's width LOC. Come on. LOC slider width. Hmm. And then on the X, what I'm going to do is say parent dot width minus self dot width. And then I'm going to subtract fx constants. Yeah. And we're going to go with the small. That's not right. It's medium. Okay. So we'll see how this all looks. Isn't this weird? Okay. I don't like the width of that. So I'm gonna make it full width. Hmm. I'm a real stickler for look at my image of my video camera. I got my tongue sticking out. Ah, yes. I've got another camera that just looks up my ceiling. It actually looks up my camera too. Um, Somebody's gonna leave me a nasty comment about how I shouldn't be messing with my camera during a live stream. And and whoever does that, they're probably right. Man, yeah, I'm thinking I should just give up on that. But it bugs me. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it as is for now. And what I wanted to do was use a rectangle. And this rectangle should be 20 width, and it is. I'm gonna have to use need one more. Value 204. Boom. Okay, 205. Um, oh, I messed that up. I want to be changing the width. So that's 415. This is the value I wanted to change. For 18. why isn't this changing when I change it here? You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like that. And then if I select, and okay, that looks right on. Nope. So let's go with 415. Oh my goodness. 416. Nope. 15. Whatever. Sometimes you got to say it's good enough. Um, perfect is the enemy of good, or I should say, um, good is better than best, which is what a manager once told me. And it has stuck with me all through the years. Okay, so this is 415. I need to go in here and say 415. That's going to work out just great. Unless you need it to be responsive, and then that will be a separate live stream, guys. All right. So switch up these values. Okay. Now, what about border radius? FX constants. Look at that. Container border radius. And it's set as 4. Okay. But do realize if you ever change these, you have 4 of them. You see that? I'd like to apply for a job at Microsoft and work on the Power Apps team and implement all the things that I want in there. Um, Microsoft, if you're listening, do we want a border like that? Probably not. That looks nice. Okay. Because if we brought it all the way up, it would just sort of look weird without a border, I guess. Now, what we could do is we could make that dashed. I like that better. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to Kurt's lab and see what else he had in here. Just refresh my memory. Okay. So, yeah, we should show the hexadecimal. And, okay, we also need to display these 3 values. Yeah, great idea. I like it, Picasso. I'm going to bring over. You know what I want to do? I'm going to right click and copy this and paste it. And what I'm going to do for the width, I'm going to say SLD red dot width. Okay. And then the color, SLD red dot value. RGBA 001 Okay. Oh. And I'm not going to do any drop shadows in there. I don't know. What does that look like? Does it show anything on the top? Probably not. All right, so I am going to, I'm going to make these solid. Maybe make that 4. Oh, it's got to think about it. Now, do you see how they updated that little weight thing? One of the labels changed the colors on the value. So that was 1 minute ago. Really? What? Oh my goodness. Why? That looks almost purple now. Wow, that's really annoying. Um, I'm gonna go to the red. You see how we got some code in here, so this is annoying. I'm gonna say blue. So yeah, I think that's a bug. Green. There we go. Thanks for letting me know that, Mark. I like it. You're my favorite student, Mark. Just FYI, don't tell anybody else. All right. Um, Now, if I run this, it just looks weird because two of the sides aren't really showing. So I'm going to take that border out. And I'm going to take out that border radius. Yeah. Make that 0. And this is annoying because I got to change it in 4 places. But we might as well get it perfect because we're going to copy and paste this. No. You guys notice that some of these items are bold and some of them aren't? If they're bold, it means the default value has been changed. Okay. Okay. Now, what I'm wondering is, should we put a label? No, because if we have a label showing, excuse me, in here, and we had a white foreground color, then we wouldn't be able to see the text. So we should put labels down here for each of them. Why does that thing look purple to me? Does it look purple to you guys? Oh, that is weird. Does it have like a focus color? I'm not seeing it. That's annoying. Yeah, that. Let me show you how messed up this is. So let's bring over a rectangle here. And here I'm going to say color.blue. Those are different colors. Now, if I click on it, then yeah, that's annoying. You see here we have pressed color. Anyhow, you guys didn't pay here to listen to me complain, right? Okay, so we've got, I want to copy and paste this. Cut, paste. Oh, come on. You know, I find containers hard to move. Why? And you know what? The Y should be set to dynamic value, which is parent dot height minus self dot height. But I wanted it set up here too. Okay. And for the color, green. Okay. Cut 0. Oh, there we go. Now, in the defense of these modern controls, the you see how like awful looking the pure red and the pure green is. Now this green, any of these values are going to look good against black, by the way. Okay, I got to turn them all down to get black, right? There you go. But of course, yeah, never mind. All right. I am going to copy this guy, click on the parent container and paste. Come on. Cut 0. Oh my goodness, guys. I smell French toast. I think she's doing that on purpose too. She thinks I go live too long on Saturdays. Okay, RGB. And then, so if I ever wanted this to be a little shorter, let's go get the Y here. Click on the Y here. Okay, I'm going to select all 3 of these if I can. And set this to a nice round number like 50. Okay. Now these guys should have changed with this. Oh, I got the slider Y. Well, let me go in here. I just go to a different screen and come back and we'll reinitialize that. Yeah. Okay. I think I may change that to no, that thing's bothering me. Okay. So we got these, and then I'm going to bring in a classic label because classic labels are better. There we go. Make this center aligned. Make it easier to see. And then I'm going to grab the name of this guy. And I will put value and we'll do RGBA 0, 0, 1. No, why did I do that? I don't know. That's the text I want to be there. And I'm going to try to bring that up to maybe 20. Okay. This guy right here. There we go. Copy and paste him. There we go. Now this one needs to be green. This one needs to be blue. Save, run. Boom. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm liking this. What do you think, Mark? Okay, now I want to put a panel down here. Copy that container. I'm going to paste it out here. Man, so hard to move. Delete those guys. And the background color for this, I'm going to make that FX theme dot, I think it's secondary light. Nope. Primary light. Oh, primary, come on. Primary light. There we go. A nice gray color. And inside this, I'm going to give it all of the information of this. You know what? It makes sense to probably have it at the top. If I could just move it around. Yeah, that's a little annoying. Okay. So let's make the Y of these guys dynamic by saying Y plus its height. All right. Now, does that look right? Yeah. Ugh. You guys notice I got my little square guides here to help me put things in the right spot. Okay, there we go. All right, so this guy, what we're going to say is color pick, and this is going to be detail or details. Copy that, go down here, look at this guy's Y, change it to that guy's Y plus that guy's width plus fx constants dot, let's go with large. No, this needs to be height. There we go. And maybe we'll go with medium. All right. Now these guys should have, yeah, I have to go to a different screen and come back. Now I could turn that off. Yeah, Rick says, looks good. Now the hex values. Absolutely. I want to put that in there too. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say value. And here I'm going to say dash decimal. Let's get a little big here. I think I'm going to shorten it. uppercase. Colons in there and bold. I like that. Bold. I don't know if I like that in there or not. One, two, three, four. Put 4 spaces in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. Now we'll take this same value here, and we will use decimal to hex. Now I do know that Kurt doesn't like. I think he started on the lab before these functions were out, but when I told him that these came out, he said that he likes to rely on his own functions than Microsoft's, but I don't have the same perspective on that. As long as they don't have any bugs in them. If they have any bugs in them, then yeah, I'd probably create my own. Okay, so we've got the hex. Now the question is, should we put a little pound symbol there? Yeah, why not? Okay. Let's grab that. Ooh, nope. Yeah. Yeah, I got tons of great advice from Kurt, especially working with him, and he's my mentor. There are just a few things that we don't agree on, but we agree on probably 95% of the stuff. This needs to be green. Okay. This is shaping up to be a pretty cool color picker. Now, maybe eventually what we'll do is we'll create a component out of this and then make it look better than, some of the other interfaces that we've seen out there. This needs to be blue. Go. Okay. Now I'm going to go back over to his screen. Get the decimal and the hex, and we need to show I don't know. I don't know if I like this or not. I think I'm going to change the height to 0. Let's set that to 20. No, 0. 0, and then make it invisible. Make it easy and combine the labels to show each. Oh. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. I'll go to a different screen and then come back. Okay, I like that. right, so what I'm going to do, open this up a little bit here. And I'm probably going to I'm going to jazz this up a little bit. Use string interpolation. Okay. Mess something up. A text, okay. Oh, okay. Hmm. So that's a numeric. Oh, I need to do that, I guess. Okay. Is that what it's wanting? Wanting me to do that? Nope. There's something else wrong here. Uh-huh. There we go. That looks a little better. Okay. So I want to work on this hex first, and then I'll update this guy. You know what I'm missing is a ending double quote. That's what the problem was. I don't even think I need that. There. Yeah. Very nice. Ew. I did not mean to put in a substitute. I like how this looks, but I don't want to put in character turns in there. So I'm going to say, hey, if there is a char 10, if you're going to use either the 10 or the 13, use the 10 if you're not going to use both. And then we are going to just do something like that. Now, does that take care of it? No, not at all. See the 13. Nope. I can worry about that later. Okay. I need red, green, blue. How are we looking here? Not that great. And I wonder if trim would help us out here. No, not at all. Now, did I spell trim right? Okay, so we got C2, 48, 45. I don't want any space in there. Need an ending curly brace. Ooh, I like that. I like that, Mark. Concat would have been, yeah. Yeah, I wanna do some clean looking code here. And that would do it. Um, okay. Okay. That out. And now we don't need all these curly braces. Yeah, guys, you always want to simplify at least how the code looks, in my opinion. Well, of course, my opinion is right, so. And we'll need commas. There we go. Now, does that look right? And I don't think we want any of these extra carriage returns in there. Okay. Yeah. Now it is on 2 lines, which I really don't want. Which means I go like this. Yay, we got on 1 line. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think what we need here. Oh no, I clicked on the wrong thing. Ugh. Wow, it's, you know why? Because I got trim in there. There we go. Trim will actually take out spaces in the middle, if you guys didn't know that. I don't think I really like that. I just want the spaces to be taken off the beginning and the end. But, okay. Now I don't think we need substitute. So if we don't need it, might as well just take it out. Okay. We don't need that. Okay. I think the code looks a little ugly, but I'm willing to just deal with it. So I'm going to do something like this. And when the height of this, I'll have it based off this guy. So the height will be parent.height minus this guy's height. And then I'm going to make the background color to look like that, and the foreground color to be white. And then let's make this like 160. And for this height, I don't really want it to grow with it. Let's go with that. And then we'll also add in here fx constants dot there we go. Let's go with 80. What drives me nuts is like you'll put a whole number in there and you'll go back in here and it usually gives you a decimal for some reason. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, I like it. I don't know that I want it to be bold though. Let's go with that. And then for the border, I'm going to give that a white color. Okay, and it's easy to copy. All right, so then what I want to do is I want to take I'm going to copy that. The decimal. that in there. Instead of RGBA, I'll say cat animate. Now I should be able to do this type of stuff. Right? I mean, that doesn't really mess with it, right? There we go. Okay. Okay, I like this better. Huh. Four. I'll do instead of a colon, I'll do a dash. Red, comma, G, B. Yeah. All right, let's make this guy whiter. Maybe 600. Ooh, and it's not centered. So I'm going to say parent dot width subtract self dot width. Divide that by 2. We should be good. Say 550, 40, 30. Okay. And I don't think I like that border anymore. Oh, you want to make that black, pure black. Yeah. And maybe give this. You see what it did? I just put 70 in there and it says 69.8, blah, blah, blah. It's annoying. Ew. I don't like how this stuff came out. What I want to do is I want to say RGBA. Do a comma instead. Just in case anybody wants to copy this, RGBA. And of course, on the end, we'll say 1. I like it. Hmm. Do I want to use a function here like color value instead of just saying hex? Okay. E. E. Mark says, you have passed lab 2 color picker. Thank you for letting me know that. All right. 560. I'll have to send this to Kurt and see if he approves. Let's do 600. Gee whiz. It really got bigger here. All right. I might put a little bit more in there. Okay. RGBA. We need to take that guy out. Go. You know what we should do? We should give this some mono spacing. Now, I love Consalas instead of Courier New. Okay. Um, so let's see if I can do that. I want to have to create my own font collection. Solace. Hey, and it worked. I love it. Okay. We'll see 900. Maybe 800. There we go. Now I want it to be taller. Like 500. You know what I could do? It go off and then come back. And that's too much. Um, yeah, instead of that, I'm just going to let's go to its y, and we'll say y plus height plus fx constants. And we'll go with that spacing medium. Okay. I think I like that better. Let's turn that guy on. Come on. I guess I could use this one right here. Ooh, what do I have selected? It needs to be this guy. There we go. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah. I want to turn that off. Mm-hmm. Very nice. I like it. Now, by the way, let me see if is my camera actually working? Barely. Uh, if you guys are interested in getting certified, Microsoft certified on the Power Platform, uh, this Monday, 2 days from now, I'm holding a 5-day challenge, Monday through Friday. Um, and it is a paid course, but it's 100% guaranteed that you're gonna pass the exam. And if you don't, then we'll continue working with you until you do. And what it is going to be 4 days of instruction and practical exercises, and then Friday morning we're expecting everyone to go take the exam. I say go because that's how you, at least you would do it in the past. Back when I took exams, you could do it online. So that's how I'm going to do mine, and then Friday afternoon we'll come back and talk about what our experience was like, and um, tell each other that we passed. If you want more details about that, um, let me share the link about that. It's right now it is 85% off, and that should only be offered until um, maybe Monday morning at midnight. Um, but let's put it over here. There we go. There's the link to that. Um, Now here's the checkout page. Just make sure you use this promo code to get that 85% off. All right. And then what else do we have? I do have a request for you guys.
Hey, if you're getting anything helpful out of this, a comment or even a like really helps the channel, and lets people like you know this.
And what video should you watch next, guys?
Guys, for some reason, YouTube thinks you're going to like this video next. Let's see if they're right. Or you can select this playlist, which I've selected for you based on the content you're currently watching. Guys, gotta hurry. Click one.